After the Below Deck crew finished a very memorable charter season during Season 12, Episode 16, Captain Kerry Titherage and his crew are now reflecting on the visitors that had the largest effect. The adage, "the customer is always right," may apply to the service sector. But that all changed when Kerry was pushed well beyond his breaking point. Kelly, a very inebriated charter guest, made a big impression during her brief stay aboard St. David. But she wasn't the only visitor the crew had trouble with. Kerry emailed the Daily Dish to say, "This year we had some incredible guests who came on board with the right energy." Those excursions are usually the highlight, since they truly embraced the pleasure and showed respect for the staff. Regarding the more difficult charters, I won't single anyone out, but it's evident when visitors fail to remember that the crew members are also individuals. On board, respect goes a long way. Bosun Hugo Ortega told the Daily Dish that the impolite strip club proprietors were his least favorite visitors of the season. When that group arrived on board in Episode 6, respect for the crew was put to the test. The crew's performance was deemed unacceptable by one guest, who also chastised Fraser Olender for using an inappropriate fork. Although he declined to give names, deckhand Kyle Stilley claimed that this season's least liked visitors were a definite winner for everyone. However, the crew also enjoyed a lot of time at sea with visitors, such as the Rashid family during the season's first charter. The primary famously glanced over the crew's work and put a blacklight in his suitcase. In the season premiere, Stu Barbara Kulife said, "It's crazy, but it's really funny." They were one of Barbara's favorite visitors of the season, she recently told the Daily Dish. Darlene Finn and her family, who left a substantial $27,500 gratuity in Episode 7, were another highlight of the charter for both Barbara and deckhand Damo Jorg. In an interview with the Daily Dish, Damo described the family as so lovely and fun. "My favorite guests are those who make the most of the boat and have a great time at sea," he continued. One of Kelly's group members, Frankie, made Kyle's favorite list despite being ejected from the boat during her charter. He is a true legend, so if you get the opportunity, go have a beer, or more likely a wine with him. The Daily Dish was informed by Kyle. Kelly was perhaps the season's most memorable charter visitor for both the crew and the audience. Fraser remarked that she could barely hold her glass of champagne shortly after boarding St. David. Kelly refused to wear a life jacket on the banana boat and dove into the ocean, forcing Kerry to intervene. He made the decision to summon the French police to bring Kelly to shore after she was unable to calm down. "We did our best to look after her on the boat because she was struggling," he told the Daily Dish. Kerry claimed that removing her from St. David was his only option. "I really wanted things to calm down for her," he said, "but she wasn't in the right frame of mind." When Kerry and Kelly got back together in August, Kerry revealed that Kelly had shown regret for her actions. The captain stated at the time that she was partying like it was 1999 because she had previously been on another charter and was seasick, unable to use the boat or anything else. She was also dealing with some issues. Kerry compared Kelly's actions to those of a wounded animal. He clarified that I was the only person she was targeting because she was going through a difficult time. The stunning girls in the season's last charter were one of Damo and Hugo's favorite charters from Season 12. When the 8 women joined in Episode 15, Damo warned a producer right away. "These charter guests look like they're going to be trouble." Kyle acknowledged that the women of the last charter were an issue for him. Kyle was almost sacked for making ambiguous remarks about an alleged connection with a visitor. He said on the September 8th program that temptation is all around us right now. "These guests are spicy," Damo once said to Hugo. The bosun said, "Well, you know the rules, don't get caught." The gang did their share to entice the males to join them by announcing that there were 3 unmarried women among them. In order to board the banana boat, they insisted that Kyle and Damo take off their clothes. Kerry said, "I'm loving the energy of these girls," in a confessional. "They're entertaining and flirtatious. They don't seem to be going overboard. My shirt would also be off if I didn't have a dad bod." A boisterous group of 8 ultimately left a gratuity that let the team down, and Rainbow's sentiments toward them were conflicted. "Sky's amazing group of divas were my favorite charter guests." Rainbow said in an email to the Daily Dish, To be honest, one of my favorite things about yachting is the incredible energy they brought to the boat. You run into folks you never would have met in your previous life. What's my least favorite? Definitely the divas, she added. It was one of the longest and most labor-intensive charters of the season, and as divas are usually quite high maintenance, the gratuity did not reflect the amount of work we did. To put it simply, it was unforgettable. When the St. David experienced technical problems during the 6th charter of the season, leaving the boat stranded at the pier for the duration of the voyage, the guests were understandably extremely disappointed. In the August 18th program, Kerry admitted, "I really feel bad for these guys." She went on to say, "It's up to the charter company to give them a discount on the trip. However, I have no influence over that. I can just make sure they have an amazing time on the boat. Encourage the team to work harder. We must turn lemons into lemonade, in some way." Given that they would now be eating all day, Anthony was aware of the pressure he was under. In order to save the crew's tip, he added he had to work the magic. In order to provide the tourists with water activities, snorkeling, and even a sunset tender trip, Kerry, Hugo, and Fraser put in a lot of effort. The main visitor nevertheless drew Kerry aside to discuss the advice. According to the primary, there is the standard gratuity, but I don't know that the group's going to be happy about doing that, she confessed. At the end of the day, it is a service industry, Kerry said the guest in an attempt to justify the workers and himself. The employees shouldn't be negatively impacted if the house makes a mistake.